Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Nick, your host of On the Scene with Martini. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget, you are the scene.
Before we get started, I want to give a quick thank you to this episode's sponsor, Soundacres, ran by Gary Cioni. Soundacres is a recording studio based in New Jersey, just 30 minutes away from Philadelphia. Gary's been a part of many influential bands, including Crime in Stereo, Day Trader, and Nex. On top of that, has recorded for the likes of Free Throw, Pop Mulligan, and so much more. Make sure to check out Soundacres' social media down below, and let's make the album of your dreams. Hey guys, what's up? It's Nick. On the Scene with Martini. Today I got George from Blacklisted and Colossal Rains. How you doing, George?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yep.
As always, another Philly guy. Last Philly guy I had on was Tyler, which we'll kind of get into that with Colossal Rains and stuff coming out and all that good stuff. But yeah, I just want to kind of get started on what was your introduction to music with Philadelphia being such a rich culture? Was it kind of like hardcore right away, or did
Like
you?
the first thing I was into?
Yeah, did you have
No.
few
The,
waves?
yeah, the first thing I was into was rap music when I was a kid, like 9 years old, and my mom would bring me to like the record store and I'd pick out records and stuff like that, just because of like Yo MTV Raps and stuff like that. And in my neighborhood growing up, that's kind of what people were into. Uh, and then later on, like punk and stuff came about, but my initial like first love was rap music for sure.
Was there any artists in particular that you really liked?
Yeah, LL Cool J, Run DMC, Public Enemy, because I was like a kid, so
Yeah,
then that stuff came out, and then uh, and I think even at that time, like I was a little kid, so it was kind of like above my head, but it seemed like the thing, it seemed like the hip thing that was happening, but yeah, I mean, like stuff like that, like a lot of stuff on Def Jam and stuff. And then I had like a family member who was like with in a relationship with somebody, and their son was like a DJ. So I inherited all these records at one point, and then my like an aunt of mine, she like facilitated like me getting a bunch of records and stuff from like a similar. It was like weird, like a similar situation. I guess like in the late 80s, early 90s, like DJing was pretty popular. Like
hmm
for people, people would buy records. I had like I owned like a lot of singles. And like I said, my mom would like bring me to places and I'd buy stuff like that. And then yeah, later, I mean the first record that I probably like resonated with was probably Nas Illmatic is probably the first one where I was like, oh, this is something different
yeah,
than like it wasn't like fun. That wasn't like fun, like the other stuff I was listening to was more like party vibe fun because I was just like a little kid. I didn't even know what was going on most of
yeah.
the time. Um, yeah.
That was like a
So
serious album for you. Like just listening to it, you're like, okay, this is actually a genre that I really enjoy, and it's not like you're taking it more seriously, like listening to it kind of deal.
yeah, I mean, I think when I heard that, I still didn't grasp like the full like 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 Nas Illmatic's as a whole, like the way it was made and all this stuff. Like I didn't. It took. I mean, even still now, I could probably unpack something from that. That's crazy. I've just been because if you think about it, it's like here was this like 16 or 17-year-old kid from Queensbridge who like all the greatest producers at the time got together and helped make this album for like someone who I think is a genius, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like moving, but at the time I didn't know anything about that. I just knew this is what I hear coming out of cars that are driving down my street and I want to get in on this. Like I want to listen to this and like of course I knew like about rock music and stuff like my parents, but my parents also knew like the Beastie Boys and stuff because they had me when they were kind of younger. So
Yeah.
like they, in the late 89, they're probably like however, not that old, 20 or something like that. So they're they were pretty in tune with that stuff too. Like I said, my mom would bring me and she knew kind of like what was going on. I mean, it's cool looking back on it. I never think about it, but it's crazy. Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, like with like rap, my dad, I've had a Lil Wayne CD, whatever, and he was pissed. He
Yeah.
was so mad. And like I feel like with parents' reactions, it's kind of like they either love it and respect it or they absolutely hate the scene of that, of like the rap scene and hip hop culture.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't think there was anything I could have did that would have made my parents like feel like I was being reactionary. Like they just
Hmm.
knew about all kinds of stuff. They weren't like
Like sheltered in a way, like
no, and
musically
they
sheltered.
weren't like old. Like I
Yeah.
hate to say that, and I don't mean that derogatory, but it's just they weren't old. Like they were young, they were younger, like when they had me, and then I had a younger brother, and so they were pretty in tune with like youth culture, or at least if they weren't in tune with it, they were close enough to it to not be like, these young kids or something. You know what I mean? Like I said, they knew about the Def Jam era of stuff just as much as, you know, I'm not saying they listened to it every day, but they
Yeah.
owned records like my
They
parents.
support it in a way too. It
And I
appears.
think they were also young enough at the time to be like still interested in checking something out. Only like recently did I realize like my age group of people, like maybe they are still like searching for new stuff. But back then, like there's a certain age it seemed like people got and they just checked out. Like they weren't really checking for anything new. And um they were still definitely trying to check for new stuff and um everything like that. So
Did you ever have like a point in your musical career or even, excuse me, uh, even earlier that like, I don't know if like your teenage years, like what do you consider like your musical career, but like that you wanted to be like a rapper or like got into writing music as like more like raps, lyrics compared to like hardcore lyrics?
yeah, I mean I'm sure when I was a little kid I like wrote raps for fun, like with
Yeah, but it's never
people.
like a serious thing for you.
I mean, I own an MPC to this day. Like I could make a beat. It would
Hmm.
suck, but I could do it,
Yeah.
but I own an MPC because of that. But no, I mean, I no, I mean, no. No, never like as a thing or anything like that. No.
It seems like there was almost a way, like there was a memory you had that sparked. You're like, maybe I could consider it.
I think that I know that I've seen people say it before, but I've never really talked about it, I guess, because I don't really ever dig that deep back in like my history, like my childhood or something. But like I think anybody that likes that, if they just read lyrics that I've written in hardcore and stuff, you can see what my influence is as far as like the use of language. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And yeah, I mean, like I grew up in the city and in the inner city, and I was on the subway, riding the subway in the L, and that stuff was just like part of the soundtrack. I mean, again with Illmatic, the train is on there when you first play it, so that's like I lived a block from the L. I could hear it from my house, so to me, I connected with that more than I connected with uh most other things. And then obviously I kept digging deeper and got in all kinds of stuff. There was like a record store in Philadelphia called Armand's that I would, even when I was in high school, still like I would just take like money I had and buy records and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I was always influenced by it. I definitely expressed myself musically way different, but that's not something that I ever like let go or cut off to go forward with something else. It's just
Yeah. Still always a piece of you.
yeah. I also think I think in like the world we live in, especially now with like you could like I've recorded full albums just on GarageBand by myself. And you could do that, and I could do that, and my neighbor could do that if they wanted. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
GarageBand, for example, is pretty intuitive, and most people could figure it out. Um, with making like music like that, I feel like people are willing to kind of try different genres that they normally wouldn't. And I think that there's something to say about like a genre that you can love and you're not trying to uh like exploit it. Exploit's the wrong word, but like exploit it for your own gain to like make something. Like I can just love this and I love it because I love it. And I'm not trying to like, okay, what piece of this can I use for my me going forward with my guitar or you know what I mean? It's just like
Hmm.
something you can like. Yeah.
So like what was the moment too then? I think it's cool with hip hop, like there's a lot of you'll see a lot of, especially in Philly too, a lot of Philadelphia hardcore bands have a good influence from rap. Like one that comes to mind quickly is Gridiron, like with Matt and stuff. Was there like any type of like, I don't want to say like rap hardcore bands, but like kind of like an E-Town or those sounding bands that like influenced you into getting into hardcore?
No, absolutely not. Hell
No.
no. I hate that shit.
Oh, really?
I think Gridiron's cool, and Tyler actually plays in Gridiron.
Yeah.
And I like Cold World, but I
Okay.
don't. I think for the most part, that stuff is like just the most culturally anorexic shit ever. It's just, and it's so stupid, and it just makes room for like the stupidest people. I got no time for that shit.
I
Like
gotcha.
I said, because to me, I was so immersed in that, I keep it separate, and I'm not saying in a gatekeeping way because I don't like I'm a white guy. Like I have no control over what happens with rap music, but
Yeah.
to me to mix it with hardcore, that's like the stupidest shit. The
I get
dumb,
it.
yeah. Fuck
Like
that.
that's like me like if someone was like I made like a jazz hardcore band, I'd be like, "What?" Like
Yeah.
stop. Just stop. Like
Yeah.
it's two different genres. But like I get like the culture of it a little bit because like you got like the New York bands that kind of like have like that sound a little bit here and there, like the 90s stuff. I would say like kind of touch it, but I get what you're saying.
I think what a lot of times is people use stuff like not just rap, but just other things to be like, I'm not boring. I don't just like hardcore.
Hmm.
But you don't, we're not in some like weird competition where anybody's checking you for, do you like anything else? But you can just like what you like.
Yeah, or like what's your
And
uniqueness?
yeah, and you
Yeah,
could,
like say
but
some like
like,
weird ass stuff.
but like rap music is not unique. It's the most popular genre in in our lifetime. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like it's weird, but I just think no bands that brought that in their thing what did I like. Or if I did like them, it didn't draw me to them. You know what I mean? Like someone like who I love, like Burn, for example, from New York. Like Chaka has like a delivery, and I'm sure he was very influenced by rap music. I mean, he grew up in New York in the 80s. It would be undeniable, but that's not why I like them. Or and he's like for him specifically, he's so unique that like it's just nah, nothing like that would draw me in to that.
What was kind of like a band or like a moment then that got you into hardcore and punk? Was there like something that like you remember that was like, okay, this could be a genre I could dive into?
Agnostic Front, Victim in Pain.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, like I got like early on. So where I grew up, like uh there was so many kids that were my age. And
Hmm.
it was like right after the boom of like Nirvana and stuff. So like kids were all started to get into like the year punk broke, you know what I'm saying? So stuff was filtering in, and like a lot of that stuff like I didn't like like Rancid or Green Day. Like I didn't listen to that stuff because I was just a little kid like trying to figure out about rap music and stuff. And then initially I heard Madball early on, which I guess it like kind of eliminates everything I just said with not liking all that stuff because they would
Yeah.
be influenced by that. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of why I threw that in there because it's like I get what you're saying about it, but then it's like you got bands like Madball that's like you can't even like take it away from them that they
No,
kind
no,
of do have
no.
that tone.
Yeah, so I'm wrong, whatever. But then from there, like I saw thanks lists and stuff and a typical thing. And then when I got to AF, Um, I don't even think I think Calls for Alarm might have been the first one I heard, but then when I got to Victim in Pain, I was like, oh, this is it. Like this is to me what hardcore is. Like this is the best. And then I got into the Cro-Mags. I was just into New York hardcore. Like New
Hmm.
York hardcore is kind of what I launched into, and I would just go see. At first, when I got into hardcore, I didn't even know if it was around or not because all the bands I liked seemed like they were from the 80s, like early on. And then obviously, like I got into like Floor Punch and stuff like that. And that was like I could see. Like I could go
Yeah.
see Madball too and AF, but it wasn't as it's hard to explain. It wasn't as easy to like,
Like accessible to get there kind of deal, or
yeah, because well, I think at the time, AF might not even have been playing when I first got into hardcore. I don't really know, but yeah, like early on, it was just, and then the local bands in my area, but they all kind of were like bad, like pretty bad,
yeah.
really bad. So I kind of like liked New York hardcore. There was one cool band from my area called Kensington that was some guys I knew, and they were a bit older than me, and they were cool, and they would play, and I would go see them, and they would put me on to all kinds of. They liked all kinds of like stuff that
Hmm.
wasn't just like typical straight down the lane hardcore. Like they liked like the offshoot genres and stuff like that. But I don't know if that answers your question,
No,
but
yeah, yeah, it does, it does. So like, can we kind of get into like how like Blacklisted started? Like, what was like a moment where you're like, I want to do this. I want to be a vocalist and kind of have my own project and start that up.
dude, I never wanted to be a vocalist. I wanted to play guitar, but I had an injury when I was a teenager, and the doctor was like, "You're probably not even going to have full use of your left hand, so you won't
Hmm.
whatever."
Okay.
So, and that wound up not being the case, like luckily later on. But I didn't like fully try to figure that out until later.
Hmm.
But so, uh, how did I? So Blacklisted started because I was in another band with the original drummer of Blacklisted, the original bass player of Blacklisted, but he played guitar in this band. And then the original guitar player of Blacklisted, he came in at the tail end of this band. He moved to Philadelphia. His name's Jay. The drummer's name's Zach. The bass player's name was Tim. We had another band called No Rights. At the tail end of that, Jay started to play second guitar, and we were kind of like having these like weird conversations. Two of them lived in like this punk house in Philadelphia called Funrama, and we would practice there. So we were just like in like either Jay or Zach's room, I forget which one, and we were talking about other bands, or what we kind of wanted to do with the band, and we were throwing out all these different ideas, and Jay had these songs, and um we kind of were like, oh, well, we should pursue this. And Tim was like, well, he played guitar and no rights. He was like, I'll play bass. So then we just had a band immediately because we were already in a band. It was already a band.
Yeah.
And Jay had, he already had all these songs. He had like a notebook with like stuff that he wanted to like reference, like whatever. So all I had to do was just write lyrics and sing. So I was like, yeah, like we'll do it. And then that was how the band started. It was pretty, that makes it sound like I don't even know, more mysterious than it was. It was really just we were hanging out. We were already in a band, and Jay kind of had songs that we were like, oh, this is kind of better than what we're doing. We should do this. Like, we're more on the same page with this.
What kind of came about the name of Blacklisted? Like, was it like any of you guys like not allowed to get into like a venue ever, or
Say it again.
well, like what kind of came about the name of Blacklisted? Like, was it like you guys weren't allowed in a venue, or someone in the band, or did it kind of just?
No, it's named after the Breakdown LP, Breakdown Blacklisted.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha,
There's no reason besides that. Like
gotcha.
I said, like I was so into like New York hardcore, and
Mhm.
that's actually kind of how I connected with Jay and Zach, like early on because they were the same. Zach especially, like we're the same. Could reference like some like really stupid band that only had a demo that was just like that I never heard of, or or maybe me only him and I really knew or something or um so yeah, it was just named after the Breakdown record.
Gotcha. Was there like anything going into it? Like, did you guys expect Blacklisted to be like what it is now? Like, you guys have like a really good respect from like especially the Philadelphia scene, obviously. But like going into it, you were saying about how you were already in a different band. You came out because you had your boy had songs that kind of made sense for a different idea. Like, did you expect to carry on that project after those songs at that point? Like, did you guys get good feedback right away? Is kind of what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, yeah, we did pretty well right away.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, we did pretty well right away. There was no like weird period. Um, I don't know. I didn't expect anything. I'm not like a person with expectation in life, period. Like whether it could be anything. I'm just not, I don't go into anything with an expectation because I mostly just don't really care. Like at that time especially, I just kind of was like, wait, we're gonna write songs. Like we're gonna record a record. Like, okay, cool. Like even then, like my whole idea was just I just want to make a record and if we could play CBGBs, that would be cool. And
Hmm.
then we did that like within the first couple of months and like lucky. We were very lucky to be able to do that. And uh yeah, I mean we were lucky the whole course of the band. It was just always pretty lucky, you
Yeah.
know.
For CBs, did you guys who were you playing with? Do you remember?
I remember he passed away now. We just played a benefit for him. Rich Hall was the
Hmm.
promoter there and he hit us up very early on and was like, "Yo, I want to book you here." And we played one of his shows, and it was like a 10 band bill, type of thing. I don't even know. Sworn Enemy might have played or something like that. I don't remember. I just know I remember being there and being like, "Wow, I'm I'm gonna play. This is insane to play here because everything I liked came from there, you know." So
That was good. That was literally gonna be my next question too.
yeah,
That's funny that you said that. It was
yeah.
good. Like, did you feel a different type of like obviously like when you're playing in Philly, like hometown nerves, like that's just given for any type of event, sport, whatever. Did you feel like going to New York and playing at such an iconic venue was like I don't want to say scarier, but tougher for you as a musician compared to playing in like a hometown show like Philadelphia?
No, they're both surreal in their own way.
Hmm.
Playing live is like surreal to me. It doesn't seem I just it's never been something that I've been really like connected with or felt like very passionate about. It's just kind of like it always seems like not real. Like I seem like in a different whatever, and then I get home and I'm like, whoa, that just happened. I think with CB's it was just the whole history of it. It's you're in a place where like things were created that shaped my life, you know, and um yeah, it was cool. But that was the early on, that was the only goal of that and to like record. And then after that, it kind of we started to get a lot of offers to play shows, and it was kind of like, well, wait, we could go to California and play this, and then like someone in England hit it. It was like, wait, we could go to England. Like I just wasn't it wasn't clicking in my brain that that was like possible,
Yeah.
even as much as it kept getting thrown out to us. It's like it would get thrown out, and then I'd kind of be like, wait, what? Like we could go there. All right. Like it wasn't. It was just really go with the flow with it. You know, there was no like. uh we weren't trying to reach a goal. There was never a goal ever in the history of the band.
Did you feel like with playing all those different places, was there like a tour or like a specific show that like really like stuck out that like you even like I don't want to say like think about, but like you like would maybe like reminisce on if someone asked you that? Like a
Nah.
favorite not just like kind of all just like the same because you were saying live's not that it's not important to you, but it's very surreal for you. So it's kind of like you're just doing it and then you're like, oh, it's done.
It's not the same. It's not it's hard to explain. It's not a well, first of all, I don't really I've said this before, so I'm not trying to be like miserly or whatever, but I just don't really like look back on it all very fondly. Like I'm just always like I'd rather just be at band practice writing songs or like in the studio. Like I didn't really look through the course of the band, like you know, like as a positive experience. That's not because like I'm still friends with most of the people that were in Blacklisted. I One of them is texting me literally right now. Like I'm, you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
that, it's not them, but the experience for me, I think, like personally, it wasn't it was difficult because I don't think, like, again, I'm being like, I'm like contradicting myself, but because just in for what I'm doing right now, but like I never was the person that should like be doing interviews and be on stage. Like I just never really felt that comfortable with that stuff, you know what I mean? And most of the
Hmm.
time I feel like I like walk away from it with like, man, what did I just do? Like, what was the
Yeah.
purpose of that, you know? But um nah, I only, to be honest, that sadly I only remember like the bad stuff. I don't really remember like much good stuff. Doesn't mean it didn't happen good, but that's
I
just how I,
gotcha.
yeah.
Kind of fast forward to 2025. You guys were on, was it just you or was it the whole band on Scarab's album this year?
Just me.
Just you. Okay. Because I know feature Blacklisted. I know hardcore bands are so famous for doing that instead of writing like featuring George Hirsch. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I didn't never ask Tyler why he did it that way. But yeah, it's just me.
was it like, do you like doing features like that at all? Or was it kind of just like a favor for a buddy? Or
No, no, I actually like being on other people's records.
does it is like a creative process for you, like seeing their kind of flow state?
No, I just think it's like cool. Like I like
Mhm.
it. Like my favorite stuff that I've done are my guest spots on the Cold World LPs.
Okay.
Or and I think because that's probably the most like honestly me moments in that I've done musically that aren't like albums I've wrote everything by myself, that type of
Like
thing.
Harm Wolf stuff.
Yeah, or even like the Colossal Rains stuff and stuff like that, or the band Staticlone I did, like I do still. But like
Yeah.
that stuff is personal to me, but I think the because I don't like when I'm on other people's records, they obviously have an idea of what they want me to do. So I just go in and do what they want me to do. When
Yeah.
I make a record, I do what I know how to do. And I think sometimes what I know how to do and what people want me to do are two totally different things, you know? So sometimes it's good to have someone say, no, I want you, the thing that you do is what I want right here, you know?
Was kind of like when you were growing up compared to now, do you feel like the Philly hardcore scene is still doing well in terms of like new bands coming out and like shows coming on? Because I feel like this year was a huge year for shows. Like that was the one thing I'll give Philadelphia. Like being from there, like it was crazy for shows, the amount of crazy bands that we had roll through.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I never go to shows, so I don't know. I think I, I mean, I think it's probably bigger than ever everywhere. I
Hmm.
think shows as a whole are bigger than ever. And I think a lot of that's because people see that there can be more money made in it, I guess, you know, which whatever. If that's what people want, that's what people do, you know, whatever. But growing up, I think the thing when I was a kid and I first started going to shows, it was it whatever was happening then, that does not exist in any way now.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying my experience. I'm saying even if a kid, I first started going to shows when I was 12. If a kid now went at 12, there's no way the same experience. It's more welcoming now, which is good. It's it's less, you know, like air quote violent now, you know,
Yeah.
which is good and all that stuff, but it's just two totally different experiences, you know, so it will be hard to really compare. It's better now as far as if you're a kid, you know, like I think it's things are a lot more peaceful.
Fair enough. I went to the Turmoil show and that was one that was like crazy packed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But just like seeing there was a ton, it was a very kid show, which was cool.
Mhm.
Like very kid show. I want to get into too, with Colossal Rains coming out, or
Okay.
Feral Sorrow coming out. Sorry, that was my Philadelphia accent overpowering me there. Um, what was like the kind of idea getting like Blacklisted, and then you got like Tyler from Scarab and Gridiron on drums. Like, what kind of prompted you guys to do this band?
Well, I do another band called Clone that Dave is in. Dave plays guitar, second guitar in that band too. On the record, he played bass, but then when we started playing live, he switched to second guitar. So, uh, I just told this story recently. So Blacklisted played two shows about 2 years ago or so in Philadelphia at the church with Unbroken after not playing together for like 5 or so 6 years, something like that. I was living in Chicago. I moved back here. Um, in that time, like I still talk to Dave, because we played in Stataclone, but I didn't really talk to John that often. But so when we were rehearsing for the Blacklisted shows, we had a rehearsal space that we all shared, and he, me and John were there one day or whatever, and he was just telling me, I want to do something else. Like I kind of don't like what I'm doing now. Would you do something else? And I was like, yeah. And I had a couple songs, parts, not full songs. And at this point, I didn't know Tyler. I knew who he was, but I didn't know him. So like after John said that, like I was at a record fair with my friend in Delaware actually, and Tyler pulled up and I met him and we just talked for like not even 5 minutes. So like a week later, John hit me up and was like, we didn't have a drummer. We couldn't find a drummer. And he was like, I got it. I have a drummer. I reached out to a couple people I knew, but they were kind of like flaky. So he was like, I got a drummer. So we scheduled a practice and rehearsal. And then when I showed up, it was just me and Tyler. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. So we started right away, started writing songs. And then like another practice happened. John came and he was like, I'm gonna play bass because he plays guitar in Blacklisted. He started playing bass. We're like, oh, we need a second guitar player. So we just asked Dave. So it just wound up that wasn't like the plan ever. It just wound up that way, that of the lineup of people. So then yeah, we probably wrote like 6 or 7 songs, and I don't know if they were good or not. I don't know. And then one day I was kind of like, ah, man, I got this other stuff that I want to do. Like, I'm just going to bring one of those songs. And I brought it and I was like, this is a song I have. We don't have to do it, but let's just see where it goes. We played it and they were just like, no, like, I think this is what we're going to do. And so I just wrote more songs like that. And slowly we would all just rehearse and then we wrote the record. Yeah.
For Colossal Rains, I really what you guys have out so far, I should say. I really like the tone of it, and it's very, I don't know, like it feels like there's like a mixture of genres in there, which I appreciate. Was there like any influence behind the kind of genre and like direction you want it for this new project of yours?
I think that it's weird because like say like John, for example, like his thing is to play live, like wants to play live. And I think Dave and my relationship with Dave, he'll just do whatever I'm down for. And
Hmm.
he's down to play whatever I have because I think in some ways it's fun for him because it's like probably more challenging than what he usually plays. And with Tyler, early on, I didn't know because I became friends with him now, you
Yeah.
know, pretty good friends. But at that time, I didn't know, what there was to expect. So we never even talked about influence. So it was all just me bringing what I liked. And a lot of it was stuff that I don't even think they even know what it is. Like, and I think now, because I've said it, they go back. And then now when we write newer stuff, they get the references easier, but
Hmm.
they're not really like I think initially we were just going to be a hardcore band was the plan, but I didn't really have that in me personally. So yeah, I mean, for me, the influences were like a certain period of Paradise Lost, like post-Gothic, like up until Draconian Times. Like there's like one or two Catatonia records that are like mid-period that were very influential to me. And then kind of things like Cathedral and Trouble and Saint Vitus and stuff, like a lot of like doom stuff that um I don't think we don't like ape it so bad that it's obvious, but that was like kind of where I was coming from. You know, uh, for me, or like Celtic Frost, like some Celtic Frost stuff. But then I kind of was trying to make we all were, not just me, kind of make that stuff a little more rock.
Hmm.
Because if it was my way, things would be five times slower and stuff. So I need them, you
To like
know.
direct you with that, like be like,
I
yo,
just
we got to speed this up.
I just write the riffs. We all write the songs, and
Okay.
that's how it works. Because I would be doomed without them. Because I would just be doing straight doom and not pick up the pace ever. Or so I like they push me. No, no, we should do this, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like just speed it up a little bit. And but yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff, stuff that I have been listening to for years, kind of like even, you know, on some Blacklisted records, there's elements of that stuff that I didn't write, but I was kind of pushing to have happen and stuff like that. Yeah.
How do you feel like this album for you as a frontman is going to kind of translate live compared to like your other stuff? Like, do you think it's going to be a little bit more challenging vocally for you at all?
No,
Or
because I can sing and play guitar easier than I can just sing.
okay, is it like
Like
a timing thing for you then?
I think the fact that I write the riffs and then I write put it together, like I write the riffs and then we go to practice and we create the song, we write this the actual song,
Hmm.
and then I can take that home and then play and write my vocals lyrics to that. Whereas with Blacklisted, sometimes in Blacklisted there's like a real like maybe in the past, like when I was a bit more like kind of a dickhead, there would be like moments where if there wasn't something that I wasn't really feeling,
Yeah,
but I didn't feel like arguing because I absolutely hate arguing. I would be like, okay, well, you want me to sing on this, then I'm gonna write the craziest stuff, vocal pattern that makes no sense, and it's kind of like going tit for tat, and it's like this. It's such a stupid passive aggressive thing. With this, it's like there's none of that.
I
It's like
gotcha.
it's a clean slate, but also like the process of it is different.
Was recording a little bit easier too, especially like with having Dave and John? Like
Yeah, I mean,
compare.
I think the recording was super easy because all the elements that are there minus Tyler, but even now Tyler, because we become so cool at this point, are all things that for me personally, that I'm familiar with. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
John, who has played on records with me since 2006, Dave, the same, Will Yip, who's recorded just about everything I've done for the most part since 2009, and then Tyler, who knows about that stuff and then is just like such a seasoned musician because he plays so much and so much different stuff.
Did you ever do like any production yourself then?
No, no, I don't. I mean,
No.
I've like recorded records at my house and stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't know that. I don't, that's not for me.
That's cool too with like Will Yip though. Like have you recorded a lot with him then?
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is probably one, two. This might be this is the third LP I've done with them, I think. And then I've recorded like 7 inches with a couple 7 inches with them. Yeah, I recorded a bunch with them.
Didn't he just put out a new studio? Or am I tripping? Am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, yeah. He has a new studio.
It looked cool from what I saw, the
Yeah,
picture and stuff. I think it's cool too. Like a lot of times I feel like our music scene gets outsourced to California, to New York, like I think it's cool too, like to have something like that in Philadelphia, especially for Philadelphia bands to partake in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's sick that he's able to do that. I mean, early on when I recorded with great engineers though. Like before I met Will, I recorded with Kurt Ballou, who is incredible, and we recorded with this guy Jim Siegel at one point, who was awesome. Um, I've recorded with Arthur Rizek, who's great. There's a ton of great engineers out there. Will is just a bigger thing. I mean, I guess he's had bigger breaks, and he has like a, I don't know. He's just the man.
Yeah, he is. I feel like he's like the name that you hear, you're like, yeah, that record's playable. Like at worst, you'll listen to the record.
Yeah, I mean, he has an ear, and he always did. Even like because when I first met him, he worked the door at a rehearsal space,
Hmm.
and he might have still been in high school, and he was about to go to college for engineering, and early on, he was like, "You guys got to come record here, record here." We were kind of like, like because I from my personal, like, I prefer an engineer that tells you we should do this or we should do that, like a producing engineer versus one that just sits there and lets you like rock out and do whatever. I think both things have strong pluses, but I lean more towards the one that's going to be like, let's do that again. Let's try this. Or if they have ideas, and that's with Will. And I think for me and us as a band with Will, he's probably more free with like, nah, that's not cool. Let's do something different. You know what I mean? And I don't get offended, and John doesn't get offended, and Dave, and we're open to it. It's like a different relationship.
Yeah, I think especially too if like you writing the riffs and like you having a lot of, I don't want to say, but like if you're writing the riffs and like you guys are all writing together, but obviously like you're gonna want to like what you say for the most part. You have a lot of control over it, and having a second ear like Will to tell
Yeah.
you.
And the only reason I say the riff thing is because I think a lot of people get in interviews and they're like, I'm a songwriter. I write, and it's like, dude, the whole band had to be there to make this thing.
Hmm.
They all wrote the stuff, same as me. Maybe I put in an hour extra of time because at my house to bring something to practice for a launching pad, but I'm just 1/4 of it. Now, when we're in the studio, do I think that they look to me to like defer, like, what do you think here? Maybe, but I'm saying as a band, we are working fourths. We're all 1/4, and that might even be knocked down because at this point, Will probably is a percentage.
Yeah. For Colossal Rains, like what are some goals that you guys have this year? Like, do you guys want to play live uh this year, like with the new album coming out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to play live if we get offers and do it. Like, there's no, to me, again, there, like, I held the album in my hand, the goal was over for me
Yeah,
personally.
true. Because
And I think
you're more of a production guy, it seems like, or
I
recording
just,
guy.
well, I just think that albums are why we make music, right? Like, I don't go on this thing. I don't make records to go sell t-shirt. I'm not a t-shirt seller, you
Yeah.
know. And I think a lot of people I know that are in bands, they're just like carnies that are just out there trying to like sell t-shirts to people, and I don't really care about that. I care about the record, and like for example, the, like we're never gonna better the album live, in my opinion. Like never have I ever seen a band where I'm like, wow, they really made that record 10 times better live. Like I never feel that way ever, ever, ever. Like especially from the perspective of say a band you love could be, we'll call them whatever. They have dual harmonies, and then when they play live, they only have one guitar player. So you're not even listening to the whole other part of the record. Like to me, like I just don't think and I know people will crucify that opinion. People are gonna be like, no,
I
like
think it's valid.
but especially with hardcore, I think so often like we're being told like the energy in the room. Like I don't give a shit about that energy. I care about the record. I listen to most of my music in headphones, and I always have my whole life, going back to when my mom would bring me to the record store and I was a kid. I wasn't blasting Cool G rap so my whole house could hear. I'm like in headphones listening and playing fucking Super Nintendo or Sega or something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
me, this is a very personal take, but that's music to me. Like never like live is cool. I understand the connection. I want to make music that connects with people. That's why I make music. But I want it on my terms. So go listen to the record and connect that way. You're never gonna like come see me be on stage and play, and I'm gonna feel connected in some way. Like it just doesn't I don't know. I guess I don't know. I'm the wrong person to ask about that.
No,
But
I mean I like that answer because it's like sometimes you just get like the cliche answer, and this is no shade to anyone who I've ever had on. I want to preface that, but like the cliche of like a I love playing live. It's my favorite thing to do. Like I think it's cool that you have an alternative take, and like I like honestly I've liked this interview especially because like your takes are not. I don't want to say the norm, but like you could tell that they're your own opinions. Like it's not a PR thing. Like it's just a real answer.
yeah, and I think that's why sometimes I walk away from interviews and I'm like, oh man, that I suck. But no, I mean I just think I at one point I would just be like, I hate playing live. In Blacklisted, I hated playing live. I could never go back to just being a standalone singer. I could never do that again. But I'm down to do it and I don't dislike it. I don't hate it or anything like that. I just don't see the value in it as much as other people do. And I don't know, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying my opinion of it. Like my opinion of it is just looking on and seeing bands that are just trying to sell like enough shirts to get to the next town. Like I don't I'll just go to work and have a job, and I'll just go to band practice and write. I care about the song, and the record is the song. And does that mean that there are bands that play live and they're not good? No, there's plenty of awesome bands live. Like I get that, but I'm just saying go buy records, listen to records. That's what music is. It's music is unless you're an improv jazz player, now we're talking about something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
like
if
a free jazz guy. Like
yeah, like would I go see Sonny Chirac play? Yeah, for sure. But if he was because you know I think he's dead, but whatever. If he was around, or would I go see Ornette Coleman or something like
yeah.
that? Yes, because what they're doing is something different. That's improvisation. No hardcore bands are fucking improv. you
Yeah,
know
it's like beat down here, boom.
Yeah, yeah, like, and I hate that. I don't want that. No, thank you.
I'll wrap you up here shortly with Feral Sorrow. What was like obviously we only have two songs out and it's a 7 track album. What is there like an underlying theme that you wanted to transpire with the writing of this stuff? Like because I feel like too like with you're saying about how there's so much influence that like kind of were in Blacklisted, but you could really put to Colossal Rains' you know music. Was there anything that you're able to talk about in that regards?
I think dude, it's again, it's weird because everybody that makes music wants to be like, my newest album is whatever. But for me, like, I don't like whatever I was personally known for in Blacklisted. Colossal Rains is like that times 1,000, in my opinion. But I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's
Hmm.
up for that's people need to decide that. Like to me, I think it was a lot of stuff that I like references and stuff that I listened to that I was listening to when I was in Blacklisted, and I kind of like fell out of like love with hardcore. And then I had that spark reignited, and that was why I started the band Stataclone, and you know, but there's definitely a time in hardcore where it's just not for me anymore. You know what I mean? And could that change? Maybe. I doubt it though. But to me, it's not really. And I would be a fraud to sit and act otherwise. But I don't know. I make music because I like to make records, and I hope people listen to it, but I get it if they don't. It's
No,
um
I think I think the album's gonna do really good. I think it's like a. I always think it's cool too. Like one of my favorite things is having hardcore bands or punk bands, whatever, play together, but in a different genre. I think people in the community really like that too. Like
Yeah.
hearing a
Oh,
different side of it.
dude, a couple things. I think that's a thing that, to use Blacklisted as a reference, when we were trying to do different stuff, no one wanted that shit.
Hmm.
Now that's what everybody wants. When at the time, people were like, why are you still called Blacklisted? Do a new band and change your name. And then we do that, and then no one cares. So it's kind of like there's no bitterness. I don't, because I don't care, but it's just like you can't go by what people say or are telling you. You know what I mean? You just have to follow the thread for you,
Hmm.
and that's it, you know. But I mean, I think Colossal Rains is the best thing I've done, and I think I, I feel kind of shitty saying that because I didn't write the music for Blacklisted. But I think even John would say Colossal Rains is one of the best things he's done, and Dave, and the fact that we're this age and we've been friends for so long and we still make albums that we feel that way about, that is like the victory for me. You know what I mean? So many bands just will keep their name and just keep playing shows to make 10 grand a pop so they can do whatever. And I mean, we get offered that, but we don't do it, you know, and the last show we played was a benefit.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's good.
Well, guys, I appreciate it a ton, George, for coming on. It was a pleasure. Guys, January 23rd, we have Feral Sorrow, Colossal Rain's debut album. I know that they have albums out. I think there's an out of 200 and out of 100 vinyl. I'll link everything down below and make sure to pre-save on Apple Music, Spotify, and wherever you're listening to music. And hopefully we see you guys play some live shows. I know I'll be at them if you guys announce some stuff. Till next time, guys. Peace.